I'm about 50, close to 60 pounds less than when I played. So when I retired, I knew it was going to be a battle to get my weight down. I wanted to do it as quickly as possible. So set a plan and just slow and steady, trying to get it off.
All right, the message to the people you'll see tonight. What is the message to them?
Just how it takes all of us to really make an impact. And, being a dad of a 13-year-old and understanding that it takes a number of different people to be able to speak into somebody's life to help really build a foundation, especially when you're trying to build it on the foundation of Christ. And so just trying to encourage people to understand it does take a lot of people, and it does take people building relationships and really diving into people's lives. And Youth for Christ is one of those organizations, and I'm proud to be here and represent them in that.
You played a dangerous game for a very, very long time, and it's coming more to light now than it did maybe in the time you were playing it. Is this surprising to you that how much has really come out in the light in the last few years?
No, listen, there's risk in everything you're doing in life. And I knew when I played the game I was taking a risk. I think for players, you just want to know what the risks are. And I think for guys who didn't know what they were risking at the time and feeling like things were kept from them, that was the big deal. I kind of learned as I was playing of what it looked like. And so I kind of had the luxury of understanding, hey, concussions really do impact guys, and being able to see older guys and how they were impacted. I think for players, guys that didn't know, it's unfair. But they've come to an agreement, they've come to a settlement, and that's who should have done it, the men who were affected. And if I'm affected, I'll hope that the NFL and the Players Association team up to help my family and any other men who are adversely affected by parts of this game that do that.
A lot of guys were schooled in how to play this game, and they're basically having to relearn how to play the game because the rules are changing.
Yeah, but that's the NFL. It's been like that forever. So there's been a lot of rule changes as the game has gone on, whether it be uniform, physical play, the style of play, all those rules have changed. So for players, once you chalk the field, we're pretty good about maximizing what's going to be out there. And I think the game of football is as good as it ever has been. I think the game of football probably teaches life greater than any other sport that can be played. And it takes every role on the team and each guy knowing his role to really be successful. And so I love the game, and I hope that doesn't get missed. And I hope that we can find a way to make the game as safe as possible where people feel comfortable going and playing the game. Because like I said, the game itself, it just has such an organic feel, and you learn so much about who you are as a man and as a person to apply to life as you enter the real world once you're done playing.
Now, Brett Favre came out yesterday and said, he wouldn't let his son play football if he had one. You see that more and more often. You have two young boys now.
Yeah.
So what's your stance on that?
Well, my oldest is playing, and so, but I didn't have a preference either way, whether he played or didn't play, and that's the way I've been in all sports for them. I'm a fan for them. I don't care what games they choose to participate in, as long as they're active and they're staying healthy and doing what's right. And so, my son decided he wanted to play football in middle school and wanted to go out and try out, and that's what he did, and I support him in what he does. And I'm very conscientious about health and safety. I've been around it for a long time and helped study it through negotiations, and so I know what to look for. And I feel like, as we are educating coaches and schools and commissioners and throughout the game of football what it all looks like, I think we are getting better at protecting our kids. And the reality is, understanding is really half the battle, understanding what you're going up against and what things look like. And I just think that takes time. And so, what Brett Favre or what anybody else decides to do doesn't directly affect what I do with my family and the choices I make.
Now, to put your analyst hat on for a second, your former team, do you think the Colts have what it takes to be a legitimate Super Bowl contender this year?
Yeah, Indianapolis Colts are a great football team. And I tell you, they're such a disciplined football team, and they don't beat themselves. And the funny part about the NFL is you lose more games than you win. And that's the honest to God truth. And teams, for some reason, will find ways throughout games to hurt themselves and not put themselves in a position to win. The Colts don't do that very often. And they're very conscientious about penalties, about plays of lost yardage and those kinds of things. So I think they always give themselves a chance. And everybody talks about Andrew Luck and all the comeback wins. These are team wins, okay? The defense has got to hold, special teams got to play their part, and offensive line and running backs got to do their part. So team-wise, they understand if they give themselves an opportunity, they can come back and win games late. That's a special quality that a lot of teams don't carry.
That's a culture that probably comes from when you were playing. I mean,
no, absolutely. You know, when you have a quarterback like Andrew Luck, you're never out of the game. And I was like that with Peyton and with Aaron Rodgers, actually, in Green Bay, is when you have a great quarterback, you trust that they can bring you back in the situation as long as you give them time. That's the way this team feels. You build confidence, and you know when you hit that fourth quarter, if you're anywhere within striking distance, you got a shot.